I'm presenting a paper entitled Impression Management Strategies Employed by Former Muslims on Social Media. Former Muslims are seen as a threat to the spiritual dimension of cultural harmony in Muslim-majority countries. Generally, the public perceive them as negative, and they are punishable under the Sharia law, and often they are marginalized in terms of freedom of expression. Fortunately, social media affords these closeted former Muslims to overtly express their views and beliefs, whilst at the same time masking their identity. And because of that, we hypothesize that impression management and self-presentation on social media are a prominent social need for the former Muslim. These are some related work on impression management within social media, which shows that research on impression management is not something new. However, the existing research is done in other contexts, not in the context of former Muslims. I highlighted 3 here. The first one, Marwick and Boyd, investigated how popular content creators on Twitter interact with their target audience. They conclude that the content producers are mainly concerned with balancing expectations of authenticity, and they are conscious of self-censorship in the attempt to create their personal branding. Self-censorship here means the awareness of what to say and what not to say to avoid any disagreement from the audience. Another researcher is Yon et al., who examined 441 status updates from 19 Malaysian university students, and they found that these students use positively loaded words more frequently than the negatively loaded words. And the researchers conclude that this occurs because their students want to be perceived as positive individual within social media. Another study is by Thomas and Hancock, who investigated 80 online daters recruited through American Singles, Match.com, Yahoo Personals, and Web Date Instagram. They found that, interestingly, the less attractive data self-presentation was mostly based on lies, through which they strive to improve their self-presentation for them to be attractive for the dating purpose. The existing research on impression management basically suggests that people use impression management strategies on social media to appear attractive and likable for them to achieve their specific purpose. This is the methodology of our study. It is a qualitative study. We observed social media for 6 months involving 8 Malaysian former Muslims. We gathered 430 postings, and we analyzed these postings thematically through the impression management theoretical perspective. These are our findings. The former Muslims regularly employed 4 impression management strategies: self-promotion, exemplification, ingratiation, and supplication. Ingratiation means the attempt to achieve the attribution of likability, which subsumes warmth, trust, and friendliness. One example of this is that when they condemn the burning of Quran in Sweden. It is interesting that they condemn this even though they are former Muslim, and this is done for them to gain support from the Muslims in the sense that they are in solidarity with the Muslims. And the second strategy is self-promotion. This is where they achieve the attribution of competence, for example, saying that they have wisdom and experience. And one of these is done by telling the audience that they have read several scriptures, they have read Bible, they have read Quran carefully, and the decision to live religion is based on the wisdom gained from this reading. And the third strategy is exemplification. This is where they try to project their integrity and moral worthiness. And one example of this is that when they state that they don't have any problem to accept arguments from Islamic preachers as long as the arguments make sense. This shows that they have moral worthiness because they do not simply reject the arguments, but they want the argument to be supported with evidence. Then they have no problem to accept the arguments from Islamic preachers. And the last strategy used is supplication. This is where they exhibit their pains and suffering to seek sympathy from their target audience. For example, when they share that when they were a Muslim, as a lady, they received unfair treatment that is caused by double standard practicing in Islam, for example. And this is done for them to gain support and sympathy from the Muslim, so that these Muslims will support them, and because of that, they can engage with Muslims within social media to believe in their ideology and worldview. Right. All in all, our research shows that these former Muslims are strategic in using self-presentation strategies for them to create positive self-presentation, for them to be able to engage with their audience in order for them to disseminate their ideology in this online world. And these are the references cited in this presentation. Thank you.